I think we've created a divide in animal health care that doesn't need to exist. Somewhere along the way, we've started believing we have to choose natural healing or veterinary medicine, herbs or pharmaceuticals, holistic care or conventional care. But I don't think the greatest divide in animal health care exists between natural healing and veterinary medicine. I think it exists in the belief that we have to choose between them. And I don't think the problem is that natural healing and veterinary medicine are different. I think the problem is that we've expected them to be the same. Because what if we've been asking the wrong question? What if these approaches were never meant to compete with one another? What if they were never even trying to do the same job? Over the past week, caring for my beautiful boy Elvy has brought all of this up for me, and I truly believe it's something we need to talk about. Hello and welcome to the Natural Animal Podcast. I'm your host, Ruth Hatton. I'm an animal naturopath and big animal lover. Here on the show, we share thoughts and ideas about the nature of animals, their preferences, their behaviours, their ways of being, to engender a greater understanding, respect, compassion and love for all animals, companion, farm and wild. I hope you enjoy this week's episode. Recently, my beautiful boy Elvy needed emergency life-saving veterinary care. And suddenly I found myself standing in the space between two worlds. The world of natural healing, nutrition, herbal medicine and energy healing that has shaped my work for more than a decade. And the world of emergency medicine, pharmaceuticals and life-saving intervention. Also, the world between life and death. And through this, through the fear, the sadness, the pain, the panic, the grief, I have realized something important. These aren't opposing philosophies. They are different tools designed for different moments. Because of that medicine, my boy came home. There is something very confronting about being a natural animal health practitioner and finding yourself in that position. Not because I don't believe in veterinary medicine. I believe it has an important role to play in the care of animals. But so much of my life's work is centered around looking beyond symptom suppression, beyond the Band-Aid. How we can support the whole animal without a heavy reliance on man-made artificial substances. I talk constantly about asking why, what, how, why is the body expressing this symptom? What is happening beneath the surface? What factors in this animal's food, environment, emotional world, or energetic body may be influencing their health? And then suddenly I am standing beside an animal I love more than I can possibly articulate, watching him struggle to breathe. And the question in this moment is no longer why, but how do we help him breathe right now? How do we help my beloved animal companion right now in this moment? How do we help save his life? And I think that's where something really crystallized for me. Natural healing and emergency veterinary medicine are not trying to do the same job. And perhaps some of the conflict we create between them comes from expecting them to. There are moments when we have the luxury of time to nourish, time to rebuild, time to explore, time to gently shift the conditions surrounding the body, the terrain, so that the body has a greater capacity to heal, to do what it has the innate power to do. And then there are moments when the body is in crisis, when time matters. In those moments, intervention can be life-saving, quite literally. There was no way that I would have been able to save Elvy's life last week using the tools I had as a naturopath. I needed what modern medicine does extraordinarily well: time. It brought us time. time for the crisis to pass, time for healing to begin, time for nutrition, herbs, rest, energy healing, and everything else to become relevant again. The fact that I chose emergency veterinary care for Elvy in this instance does not mean that I've abandoned everything I know about natural healing and holistic animal care. It does not mean that I'm no longer supporting him in a holistic and natural way. But I am asking some different or additional questions. It's not just about how do I support this organ, this system, this body. It's how do I support his body with the medications he now needs for the foreseeable future? How do I nourish him during recovery when his appetite has been affected? It's better now, by the way. How do I support his nervous system after an incredibly stressful experience? How do I work alongside the pharmaceutical actions of the medications rather than blindly adding herbs because they're considered good for this organ, this system? How do I think carefully about interactions between a herb or a mushroom and a pharmaceutical? How do I support his energetic body? How do I make his home feel safe while he recovers? How do I help Elvy, his whole being, navigate what has just happened? This is still holistic care. Holistic care isn't defined by the absence of pharmaceuticals. Natural healing isn't somehow more pure if we refuse modern medicine. And using a pharmaceutical doesn't mean we have to hand the entire animal over to a purely modern medical model and stop asking the deeper questions and stop supporting the animal naturally and holistically. We can do both. But this requires discernment. Discernment is knowing not just what to use, but when to use it. Because integration doesn't mean throwing everything at an animal. It doesn't mean giving the medication and 12 supplements and 6 herbs and 3 mushrooms and hoping that somewhere in that pile we've covered every possible pathway. Sometimes integration means doing less. Sometimes it means allowing a pharmaceutical to perform the job it performs incredibly well while we gently support the body around it. Sometimes it means recognizing that a herb and a drug may be trying to influence the same physiological process and asking whether they truly belong together. Because herbs can and do interact with pharmaceuticals, so we need to be especially mindful here. Sometimes it means waiting, which for me is perhaps one of the hardest things of all. I think about all these other amazing things I could use to help him. But I need him to recover first. I need him to stabilize because I want to heal him. I want a miracle. When an animal I love or you love is unwell, every part of me or us wants to do. Let me rephrase that, or let me restate that coming directly from the first person. When an animal I love is unwell, every part of me wants to do. I want to formulate. I want to research. I want to support. I want to find the next best thing that might help him. I want to be able to give him all of the beautiful natural medicines that I have been giving him. Elvy is reminding me that healing isn't always about how many tools we have or all of the things. Sometimes it's about knowing which tool is needed right now in this moment and which tools can wait. I've spent years weaving together different ways of understanding how to support animal health and well-being. Nutrition, herbal medicine, naturopathy, energy healing, the emotional lives of animals, the environments they live in, and veterinary medicine. Perhaps until now, I haven't thought so clearly about how veterinary medicine can help animals outside of diagnostics or a broken limb, for example. Important? Absolutely. Necessary? At times. It has a place. a really important place. And I've been fortunate to find a vet who, while she practices purely in a conventional manner, she knows the work that I do. She is open, she is non-judgmental, and she knows her craft as a conventional vet. I've worked with many vets, and I can tell you right now, it has not always been this way. I have had vets put the fear of God into me. If you don't do this, your animal will die, but in a judgmental, condescending way. And this is also the experience of many of the clients that I work with. I know there are a lot of vets that don't practice in the way that Elvy's new vet does, and they can be more of a hindrance than a help. When I look at Elvy sleeping beside me, I see Elvy. And every decision I make for his care at this stage of his life needs to come back to him. Not about what I want to do or how I want to control things because I want him around in his physical body forever. It's about him, his journey, supporting him to experience everything he desires from this life. Not about my identity as a naturopath, not about someone else's identity as a veterinarian, not an ideology, not a camp, him. What does Elvy need right now? The question may lead me to a herb. It may lead me to nutrition. It may lead me to energy healing. It may lead me to a pharmaceutical. And sometimes, as I've learned this week, it may lead me to all of these things. I've used the words weaving together ancient healing, wisdom, and contemporary care to describe my work for a long time. This week, those words stopped being a tagline. They became something I had to live. And perhaps one of the many lessons that I'll carry forward from this. Maybe the divide that we've created in animal healthcare begins to disappear the moment we stop asking which philosophy is right and start asking, what does this individual animal need from me right now? Because perhaps wisdom isn't about choosing between ancient healing and modern medicine. Perhaps it's learning to discern what each has to offer, when it is needed and when it isn't, always in service of the animal standing right in front of us. If this episode resonated with you, I'd love it if you shared it with someone who believes they have to choose between natural and conventional pet care. I hope this conversation offers you and them permission to step beyond that divide and simply ask what their animals need most. And if you'd like to continue the conversation, I'd love to hear from you. You can find me over on Instagram at ruth.animalnaturopath or at the Natural Animal Podcast. Until next time, may you continue to seek the best care available for your animal. May you continue to advocate with courage. And may you always remember to ask one simple question. What does this individual animal need from me right now? Until next time, big, big love to you and your animals.